So we're good? Yes. Okay, we're good to go.
All our mics are working, so
we're ready to go. All right, so hello everyone, welcome. Welcome, thank you for coming out tonight. Sorry about the late start. We're going to be here talking about a niche RPG company called Nihon Falcom. And we're specifically going to be talking and zeroing in on the English localizations. We're going to be talking a little bit about the company's presence here in the West. We're going to talk some about the official localizations that have come out and some of the games that have not been localized. And we're going to talk about the roles that fan translations have and will be playing going forward in the future. Okay, and that last point is important because we are a fan translation group called the Geofront. We primarily specialize in making fan localization projects for Falcom games. And in essence, I mean, we have been starting, I think that we've actually been doing stuff since January 2017, so this is about our 6-year anniversary. And we have about 40 members, and so it's like and so basically the type of work that we go in and do is localization patches, and effectively just a broad overview of the type of work that we do is that we have translators and editors who go in and work on the scripts, and then we have programmers who will go in and insert the text into the game, and then we will have graphics and video editors who will go in and make sure that the English text is in the graphics and the video part, and then we have testers who go in and save our butts and save us from a bunch of embarrassing bugs and, you know, just a bunch of tech stuff. Yeah, sure. And effectively what we do then is we have our programmer, usually Ribos. He will go in and upload translation software patches that we upload to our website. And effectively what that means is that a fan can go in and purchase the games from Falcom, whether that be a physical copy or a digital copy, and then they can go in and download our translation patches software and automatically install them into the game. So effectively what that means is that it provides an avenue for you to be able to directly support the developers and be able to play the games in English at the same time. And so that's effectively the type of work that we go in and do. So we should probably go ahead and introduce ourselves individually before we go and move forward. My name is Sly. I'm an editor. I've worked on a couple of projects here with the Geofront. I think I joined about 3 years ago. So yeah.
Hi everybody, I'm Shanji. I'm a professional interpreter and translator. I work in the automotive industry, and I do this on the side. So I actually do translation work for the Geofront. I've been doing it for a couple of years now. It's a lot of fun. These are a lot of really great people, and I'm very happy to be here. Thanks, guys.
Shanji and Sly are the best. My name is Matthew Finch. I work on Dinosaur Resurrection. I introduced myself earlier. I'm the lead editor. I've been with the Geofront for, a couple of years now. I did brief work on Trails to Azure and already brief work on East vs. Trails in the Sky. Hope you guys played those games. They're pretty awesome.
10 points to the Lloyd cosplay.
20 points to the week I saw earlier.
Good cosplay for sure.
Hey yo, my name is Sheldon. I'm dedicated everyman and troll poster at the Geofront Circa 2020. They brought me on for QA testing for East vs. Trails, and for reasons unknown to man, they kept me around for Dinosaur Resurrection, and who knows what else.
And hi, I'm Ribos. I've been around since early on with Geofront with Trails from Zero, Trails to Azure, and East vs. on the programming side, and I also work with now Dinosaur and upcoming projects. He also did like that one off of Peter the Golf once. That was fun. Yeah, I remember you played the golf.
Okay, sure. And so effectively, we have made 4 translation patches so far, and we have one that's coming on the way that's announced, and we have a couple that are coming out that are unannounced that may actually be announced by the end of today, so stick around. So let's go ahead and move on. So I want to be able to provide a little bit of context for Falcom for anyone here who may not know. So I want to ask a question to the audience. So by show of hands, before walking into this room, how many of you heard of Falcom? Okay, so that's basically everyone. And so keep your hands raised in the air if you have at least played a game from Falcom. Okay, so basically everyone. I see at least a couple people who haven't, so I'm just going to provide a very brief bit of context. So basically Falcom is a company that's been around since 1982. I believe their first game that they made was a Galactic Wars. That's correct, John? Okay, cool. So, and effectively, you know, there's like their most well-known franchises, and basically everyone here would have known about them, is their Trails and Ease franchises. But there's actually, I mean, they've made a lot of other IPs and a lot of other games, such as Brandish and Zwei and Vantage Master and Sorcerian and Guraman. And there's actually quite a lot that, you know, I think, did I say Xanadu? You know, there's a lot of, the company has a very, very rich history. Yet despite that fact, Falcom has, for the most part, not been very well known in, or at least in the West, at least as of like 15 to 20 years ago. They've been picking up more steam lately, and that's in large part because Falcom, at least I think as of like 2006 to 2009, they started reaching out to more of their Western localization partners. And so some of those partners are as follows. And those are Exceed Games, NIS America, Axis, and Mastiff. And they have primarily been working on what I would like to call the modern era of games, and that's just a self-prescribed title for the purpose of this panel, which is basically from games from 2003 to 2022. And so I've actually put a list together of all of the games that they have localized up until this point. And that's what you have right here, which is a lot of them are, you know, from the Trail series and the Ease games, which those were primarily done by Exceed and NIS America. Exceed also worked on Brandish the Dark Revenant. They also worked on Xanadu Next and Zwei 2. And then Mastiff worked on Guraman, and Axis Games worked on Tokyo Xanadu. And then we also have several other games that are coming up in at least the next, or actually this year. So we have the Legend of Heroes, Trails to Azure, Trails into Reverie, and then Nayata Boundless Trails, all of which are coming courtesy of NIS America. And what's significant, at least to me from this, is that all of them are coming this year in 2023. And part of the reason why that, that means a lot to me is that I believe this is the first time in, English Falcom history that we are having, 3 Falcom releases coming all at once in 1 year. Which, and that's important to me because, especially in previous years, there were at least some degree of uncertainty about whether we would be getting some of these Falcom localizations. Like back in FC, some people were thinking, are we going to be getting a localization for Trails in the Sky SC? And are we going to be getting localizations for Crossbell? And I've heard people say there's no way we're going to get localizations for Nayata. Look right there. There's quite a lot, and it's just, we're now at a point where people are no longer going in and saying, when are we going to be getting, or they're saying, they're not asking, will we be getting these games? It's when will we be getting these games? And so that is a great position that we are in for modern Falcom games. However, that is not the case for classic Falcom games. Basically, and just to show this list again, this all applies for Falcom games that have been released in the last 20 years. However, I mentioned that Falcom has been making games since 1982. So there's 2 decades that is not being covered by this time. And so I put together a list of the amount of games that official publishers have covered with regards to these classic titles. And those games are just Popful Mail and Zwei 1. Now there's a few, this list does not account for ports that were made by other developers. I believe Brandish for the SNES was also localized, and I think that some of the East 1 and 2 ports were made by
Xanadu.
Yeah. But for the most part, right. It's this is definitely a niche that is not being covered by a lot of this stuff. And so I've also put together a list of Falcom games from the classics that have not been localized as of yet. And this is kind of a messy collage that I put together, and this Collage does not account for ports that are made by other developers. This just accounts for Falcom developed games, and it does not count fan translated Falcom games. So these are all games that you currently that Japanese fans, they can be able to go into these, a Japanese store and be able to play them in their native language, but English-speaking Falcom fans cannot play any of these games. And so that leads into the importance of fan translations. So all of these games that I have here these are Falcom games. Some of these are not Falcom developed. These are made by ports. Some of them are made by ports by other developers. But these are all games that are only accessible via fan translations. And they're only accessible because fans took the time to go in and put these games up on, put these patches up for people to go in and play. And that's an advantage that fan translations have. It's like because a fan can be able to do that just from passion and just from, just spending their free time. An official publisher cannot do that because, they have to be able to make money. They have to be doing this for a living. And it's hard to go in and sell some of these games for, a modern localization audience when they look like this. And this is Computer the Golf. And, we all go like Computer the Golf. But it is also almost impossible to sell this as a localization. Now, this is a little bit of
this year.
In a modern 2022 climate, right? And so it's like, and this is a little bit of an extreme example. 90s games, Falcom games definitely look a little bit better than this. But it's like the further back you go from like the 2000s to the 90s and the 80s, the harder it gets to be able to justify this, in terms of a modern localization setting, because you have, it's like these people. Companies have to go in and pay their localization staff. Overhead is always a very expensive thing. Licensing costs are very expensive. People underestimate that. And marketing expenses are always going to be, they're always going to be high. And so it's hard to go in and justify going back and doing some of these older releases over, some modern or, just some more lucrative deals. And that is, and that's something that, it's like, that is a barrier for official localization companies, but that is not a barrier that the Geofront has to worry about or other fan translations have to go in and worry about. And it's like, in part, we do this work because we love Falcom. And that's the reason, like that's what drives us to be able to work on all of this stuff, is because we love Falcom games, we love the classics, we love the modern stuff. And it's like, I do this in part because I like being able to work with these goofy goobers. I've worked with them for 3 years.
We love your slide.
I love you guys too. These are friends that, I grow into this, but it's like, I do this work in part because I want to go in and play the classic games. And so it's like, if I can be able to go in and spend at least a little bit of time working on some of these translation stuff, and if that helps make them accessible to a broader audience, then to me, that's time well spent. And so that's why I do this work, and that's why I think we all go in and do this work. And so just to reiterate some of the titles that we have worked on currently, we worked on the fan translations for Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure before NIS went and acquired and announced their versions, and we also worked on a fan localization for East versus Trails in the Sky and Computer the Golf. And so what we are currently working on that we have announced is Dinosaur Resurrection. And and this period, or at least and this period is like the Geofront scope right now is, at least his primary directive is going to be working on the classics library from here onward, because for the most part, a lot of the Falcom games, with a couple of exceptions, have already received official localizations, but there are a lot of classic games, there are a lot of really cool games that have not been given official localizations, and so that's going to be our job. And so right now that's initiative that started with Computer the Golf, and it is continuing with Dinosaur Resurrection, which we have two of the editors right over here, so I'm going to pass the baton to them and let them carry it on.
If I get a slide if I can here.
Thanks so much, Slide. So what I wanted to do with my time here real quick is sort of demystify the process of localization, because to many, myself included, before I entered the Geofront, it can seem like this vague and nebulous thing that isn't very well defined. But over my time editing Dinosaur Resurrection, I've come to learn that it simultaneously is and is not what I expected. For starters, the first thing we do when we work on a localization is we scope out the technical specifications and requirements of the project. And that is where programmers like Ribos, Jose, and others in our stable, they work to create a technical foundation where we figure out what we can do with a script dump, what we can do as far as text insertion goes, what we can do as far as tweaks like widescreen, upscaling, etc. are concerned. You want to go into more depth about that, or are you good?
I mean, for the most part, it's like, well, with the older titles, we've shown that we, like personally, my task is generally like the launchers and stuff, and the user interface stuff, and making sure that things feel like a port that is not just the text, because sometimes these games are quite old and don't quite work on modern systems and stuff like that. And so me, together with Jose, we work on these projects by, disassembling them and figuring out how they work, which ends up being a lot of trial and error. And unlike editing, for example, like you have a clear progression, like you have this many boxes total, right? With programming, you have all these different issues. Some of them may be really easy to fix, and some of them may be really challenging to fix, or we just don't know the answer yet, but we can experiment and figure it out, using many publicly available tools and processes out there. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Ghidra. It's a cool decompilation tool that's free and open source. But anyway, there's just like tools like that we use, and we write a
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, and so like we use those to get the script out and give it to the editors in a usable format, and then we patch the game and make a pretty launcher that lets you play it.
Our programmers are kind of like our firefighters. They are constantly putting out fires as soon as bugs come up or any issues. And that's really an extremely difficult part.
Yeah, and one of the things that I always like to talk about is how the importance of things like issue tracking and stuff for making those processes go well. And that's one of the things that I'm always like talking about within the group, is making sure that we're on top of things and don't forget about this kind of thing in terms of the technical side.
Yeah. I quickly learned that I do not have the patience for working on the programming side of things, but I do have patience working with these goobers. So once we figure out a technical base for our project, that's when we move on to the first step of the localization process, and that is the translation itself. And the translation isn't quite as straightforward as I once thought it was. The translation, at least the base form of it, is not what you see in the final release of a product. It is meant to be a template and a springboard for editors like myself, like Mitch, like Sly, to transfer the ideas behind the words into a format you can digest. Sometimes all you need to do to work the translation into a finished product is nothing. Sometimes the base translation makes perfect sense as it is. Sometimes the line is perfectly digestible. But there are some things that you can't directly translate, things like jokes, puns, idioms, dialects. It's just as much a creative exercise as it is interpretation, and finding that balance is what gives the translation the character and the quality that we strive for. Sometimes you can just fall into pitfalls by transplex. And this was translated wrong through Gen 4 of Pokemon when they initially translated it as Celadon Mansion and changed it to Celadon. Sometimes puns, idioms, even if they have the same exact words, can mean completely different things. Cat got your tongue is a common phrase in English that means you're at a loss for words, like I have been throughout this entire panel. But to have a cat tongue...
what I said?
What's a Falcom game? Speaking of lost for words here, it's basically like a coat of sandpaper over the translation that works to refine, but acts as just another coat of finer sandpaper, because we will inevitably make mistakes. There will always be something we screw up, whether it's a typo here or there. The project lead for Dinosaur just commented that one of us used the wrong version of the word fowl, so we were inadvertently referencing a chicken. So there will inevitably be some things that we need to smooth out.
That's a mistake. Go ahead and click.
I trust you.
Trying to think. You know, I had notes, and my notes were a whole whopping wing it.
Wait, are you serious? I do have
So, when we originally put out the trailer for Dinosaur Resurrection, I know we released it with the text at the end going, first pass, 50%. We had a video today to announce something for you guys, but we seem to be having a bit of an issue with the video.
any more ports, do you? You don't have any more ports.
Bear with them for a moment. So I guess I'll talk to you about Dinosaur a bit while they're doing tech stuff over there. So Dinosaur is, to be honestly, probably one of the most interesting games in Falcom's old school catalog, just simply by the fact that it is incredibly weird. It is a very weird game. Like, Kiseki, it's relatively normal. Everybody here has probably played a Kiseki game. Normal by as in...
Oh, fine. Have it your way.
Have it your way, phone, or should I say, six anguis of Ouroboros vibration. So Dinosaur is cryptic, it's vague, it doesn't spell out its plot for you, its characters range from like bland JRPG party to Randy, not Orlando. I need to specify this quick before you think, you know, he came from Dinosaur Resurrection and reincarnated into Crossbow for some reason. No, this is different Randy. Absolutely crazy person who my co-editor here had the pleasure.
Yeah.
Six was an Ouroboros. Are you trying to call me or something? Okay. Anyway.
I don't implement.
I know I'm struggling on this game. I know I'm struggling, but man, the internet's struggling a little bit harder than I am. No, I'm just trying to see what's happening here before I get to you saying anything, because I actually do have an announcement for Dinosaur quick. So, I'm going to just kill time about Dinosaur for a moment. Bear with me. I'm going to try my best, because honestly, the thing about Dinosaur is I can't say too much about it, because I want you guys to play the game. Like,
I mean, there's also...
the thing about Dinosaur is that anything I say, or really kind of explain to you, ruins that vagueness that you get when you go into it. The game is like slowly unraveling a mystery, not just from its plot, but from its gameplay mechanics, its character dynamics, how the party system works, how the combat system works, how random encounters work. And by that I mean, you might take one step and fight a bee, fight the bee, take another step, fight another bee, and then not fight an enemy for like 27 steps, and then suddenly fight a horde of bees. So that's Dinosaur for you. But this game. Okay, there's technical difficulties are going to be the theme of this segment.
I think we got it.
There's no enemy in Dinosaur Resurrection called the game over, but I wish there was.
I look forward to dinner reserved. That's a joke. We got nothing for that. Is the video good to play? Because I'd like to show you guys some Dinosaur Resurrection before I rip it.
Go back.
There's Ash, the titular protagonist of Dinosaur Resurrection. Sadly, his last name is not Dinosaur. I think if you click play now, I think it'll actually play the video.
Click play.
Okay, we've gone back to the start of the panel. Welcome to Falcom Localizations, but now in the future. We're your hosts, the Geofront.
I'm dying.
Me too. Sorry, first. Please inside you. Oh.
Type of word to look up Wikipedia. Can we look up dinosaur?
This is what's like localize the panel.
Yeah, so this trailer, I want to quickly clarify something for everybody when it comes to this trailer. If this trailer plays, it is not representative of the final product at all. This was made using a build from a while ago that we used for the original trailer.
Loading is trying to play.
It's trying to play the trailer. Yeah, it's a 30-second trailer. This is everybody.
Apologies, everybody.
Pray to dinosaur. Actually, don't do that. That might resurrect it.
It's crazy. Stream PC might actually have a better job of
Yeah.
Honestly, it's really not that important of a trailer, and I know the trailers we have coming are more important, so if you guys want to try to get that set up, I'll just do my dinosaur stuff. There's hope!
It's really important.
It is, actually. This is really big news about Dinosaur that I really want to share with you guys through the trailer that I recorded the day before we saved this project. Really isn't that huge, but let me say this game is incredibly complicated to localize. It's very old, kind of Japanese. I think that was what Fishbone, our project lead, said, is the game is very like old school Japanese writing, and localizing that is a huge challenge. Like Kiseki, they're all written in kind of more modern Japanese. This wasn't, apparently, according to our project. I don't speak a lick of Japanese. Shanji over there does, but the only thing I know in Japanese is nothing. So. Yeah.
That's why our translators are important.
Yeah, that's actually why translators are important.
Voice artist over here, Stolt. He does a lot of voice work for us. We love him for that. He has a wonderful voice, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the video.
When it plays.
After it buffers.
Experience a world of excitement and adventure in Dragon Slayer. Prepare for Nihon Falcom's video game masterpiece to invade your living room. Now in English for the first time and like you've never seen it before. Explore a perilous labyrinth teeming with monsters and treasure. But tread with caution, young adventurer, for a powerful three-headed dragon dwells deep within. Compete with up to 4 players as you cast spells and gain experience on your way to its lair. Make the end of glorious battle, slay the fiend, and claim the crown so that you too may call yourself a Dragon Slayer. Now available on Tabletop Simulator.
So you guys surprised about that one? Yeah, we've been working on this for a while now, actually. It's been kind of a side project. I want to give big props to Shuji. He is our editor, and we love him to death. He does incredible work on video editing, and this is just one example. Thank you again to Stolt for doing the voice work for the trailer. I know you're hanging your head there a little bit. But
I want to also thank Shuji for making my voice sound tolerable.
But how long it feels. how long it feels like we've been waiting to show you that. Sly talked a lot earlier about how one of our goals as a group is to give English speakers the opportunity to play these Falcom games that we never got in the West, and well, this is one that we've been wanting to. So some people might be wondering which version of the game that we're working on. Well, for us, we feel that the Windows version is closest to the original experience, while also offering the most accessibility. I'm a big fan of the PC98 version myself, but we are going to go with the Windows version. So speaking of accessibility, you can actually go to DL site right now and purchase the game for less than $10. And although just please be aware that you won't be able to do much with it until we get our patch out, and that's for concerns you might be left out in the cold. Please don't worry, as we plan to support those versions as well. So are we going to do the entire trilogy? That's a big question. Our intention is to do the entire trilogy. We want to do the entire trilogy, but we are not going to commit to it immediately. But what we are going to commit to is that White Witch will 100% come out. The guarantee. It is coming, no question. So we hope you'll look forward to that. So final question that some people might have is, when will it be out? And the short answer for that is basically when it's ready. I think I speak for everyone here when I say that we consider ourselves perfectionists, and we want to treat the story with the careful respect that we believe it deserves. That's incredibly important to us, and while we want to get it out there to you as fast as we possibly can, we're also going to take as much time as we need to make sure we do it right, and that you have an unforgettable experience with it. So we're making fantastic progress and improvement. Here's a few early in development images that we brought to share with you. So just click through those a few iterations. Just to show we do actually have text insertion working, so. So as a translator getting to work on a game like The White Witch that I have so much respect and passion for is a really. Come on up! While we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and announce the Excel pin winners, because we also have 5 Excel pins from Pinbox. Let's just put in that real quick. 0350441. Yes, he is our winner. Thank you, guys. Won the golden crawfish. 5 minutes left. Okay, we're gonna go through this real fast. Right, so you go ahead and click forward. We have 5 Excel pins that we're gonna also be giving away. Oh, are the numbers ready, Anna? Yeah. All right. So these are large XL pins. You'll forgive there's a little bit of packing material inside here. Rob just wanted to keep them safe. So we've got 5 XL pins to give away. And if you have these ticket numbers, please come up to the stage now. Oh, yep, that's one. You get that one. Let's see, what do we got? Let's see, 0350457. Let's see, 0350446. Is that up? Everybody tell me if it's not up there. I can't see it from here. Thank you. 0350433. Ooh, got the Estelle pin.
Balkan time.
Thank you. 0350434. And the other Estelle pin, because we actually do. Give them all a big hand, everybody. And if you didn't win one of those, don't feel bad, because as we are exiting and kind of clearing out, if you would just please be respectful of everybody as you're moving out. People who, we're going to show a slide up here in just a minute that has the other winning tickets. And if you see your number on there, please go to the back and kind of file out that way. And everybody else, if you'll file out this way, we really appreciate it. Again, thank you all so much for coming. It means so much for us, for you to be here. Please give these guys a big hand. These guys are amazing. We love them. Thank you for tolerating all the hiccups along the way. And thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your MAGFest. Oh, and I do want to make one more small plug for a friend Persicon. He's got a panel tomorrow, actually, and it is at 5:30 to 6:30 in this same panel room. He's going to be doing a panel called Gameu, and it also involves a little bit of help, I think, from
It also involves the history behind the creator of that Dragon Slayer game that became a board game. If you want to know more about the history behind Dragon Slayer, okay, we'll cover some of that.
Thank you very much. Thank Persicon very much for helping us with some of our technical issues here a minute ago.
And on my back is White Witch.
Thank you, everybody, again. Have a great night.